Keep one foot on the ground at all times.
Anything with you.
Oh, it's the rhythm section.
We are live at the KROQ Coachella Party House. I am Nicole Alvarez with the Black Crystal Wolf Kids.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
Who just got off stage and pretty much covered every song I've ever loved. That's my favorite Killer song.
That's awesome.
That was phenomenal. I'm going to start with your name is an amalgamation, and I only say that because it's an SAT word that I know that makes me sound smart. But it's a bunch of bands that you love put into the title, right? So I got Black Keys,
Yeah.
Crystal Method,
Crystal Castles, Crystal Caverns,
okay.
all those crystal bands.
Wolf,
Mother, Parade,
Eyes.
Peanut Butter, Eyes, yeah, all of them.
and Kids would be Cold War Kids.
Correct.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we started 10 years ago, my plan was to change the name of the band every time the trends changed. Then we started printing merch, and
that just doesn't work.
We needed people to book us. It didn't
Fiscally
happen.
irresponsible.
Correct.
So when you started the band, what was your vision and your intent? Because you are, from what I've read, an indie cover band is what they call you.
Yeah. So Pretty much, like I call us an indie rock, the world's first indie rock tribute band.
Okay.
And basically, I was going to shows at like the Satellite when it was Spaceland and the Echoplex and stuff, and people were just standing there with their arms crossed, and I was always in the front row with my fist in the air.
That's me too, buddy. That's me too.
Yeah, and I was like, these songs are so fun. Why aren't people like singing along? And some of us were in a band together before, me and Greg, and Mark was in that band at one point too. And that band broke up, and I made a couple phone calls. And one of my favorite stories is that Valerie, at our first practice, was like, I don't know a lot of this music, but I'm down.
I really didn't.
What were you into at the time?
Funk. New Orleans funk.
So just the opposite of what you do now.
Very close to what we're doing now.
So what made you say yes?
Jeff.
So she came
and
into
Mark and Greg.
Yeah. These handsome men.
She came into this practice and she was like, so I listened to that Cold War Kids song, Hang Me Up to Dry. She's like, I know it's a guy singing, but do you think I could sing it? And I was like,
Ballsy
she's
and
in.
beautiful.
She's in.
Valerie,
Yeah.
come here. So what makes you, so you're not a cover band, you're a tribute band, and there is a difference, which I love. What makes you different from the other types of bands?
I think that there's like more of like, we wear crazy outfits. You know, we try to
What?
like.
That's not crazy. That's stylish as AF.
We wear extremely stylish Coachella outfits. And we like really try to get to the core of what makes the songs work, rather than like if it sounds too cheesy in practice, which happened recently at a practice. We were like, why does this sound cheesy? And then we figured it out, you know? So we it's not necessarily that we try to match exactly what the song is, but we try to find the heart of it.
And
like
you make
really
it your own.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I really do love that explanation. How do you pick the songs? Is it songs that you personally love and then you bring it to the table and say, guys, I really want to try this our way?
There's a process. Usually it involves me texting Mark, because he and I are the two sort of most follow, like it's not really that we're the alphas. We more like follow music more, and we try to get ahead of the song. So we're learning new songs all the time.
Okay.
So we have like 3 songs we're playing at Pappy and Harriet's next week that we didn't play tonight, that are all artists that are playing this year's Coachella.
What is the most ambitious song that you've played and pulled off?
Okay. We had a moment in practice once where I said that I was convinced that we could do Bohemian Rhapsody.
I saw that video. It was at like a house party.
Yeah, that was at City Stock.
Okay.
And
That's our festival.
3 years in a row, I said, I really think we can do Bohemian Rhapsody, and they just pushed it, and we finally did it. It was fantastic.
We played
Yeah,
it
guys,
one time, and that's definitely the hardest song of all time.
But now that you've kind of done it how many times have you done it?
Once.
Now that do you want to, once you do a song that ambitious, are you like, we got it over with, or do you want to go back and do it again?
I mean, let the perfection live the one time you did it. You pretend that it was the greatest version of it, and it will live in infamy that way. It's much better for the band's morale to only do it one time.
Also, when we do City Stock, we tend to do like, we'll pick like a theme and we'll do mini sets, and so there will be some stuff that we'll do really special for that. Bohemian Rhapsody was such an intense endeavor because there's so many different aspects of that song that need
It's a mini opera.
work. Yeah.
We had a choir too. I mean, we had the whole.
Damn, you pulled out all the stops.
Yeah, a lot of those. If we learn, say, 5 songs for City Stock, a lot of that stuff actually does stick in our set, and we'll kind of keep coming back to it. But like something like Bohemian Rhapsody, you can't play a thing unless you kind of keep it alive, and that's a difficult one to kind of keep alive.
Who's the perfectionist in the band?
Yeah,
Oh my
I would
God,
say
it's unanimous, my friend. Like you can't even deny it.
I think he's definitely the closest to perfectionist.
See, what I would say is the person that really kind of elevates us and makes us sound like we're really getting all of the details is Val.
Valerie's getting a lot of props.
I am
from
getting
you
a lot
guys.
of
What a
love. Thank you.
progressive.
She's our not so secret
What
weapon.
a progressive group of men.
I know.
So, how many of you heard KROQ growing up, or how many of you were exposed to this fine little beauty we call the world famous KROQ?
Yes, indeed.
All of us.
Raised on it.
Every morning on the way to school.
I mean, that's literally my musical education came from listening to
So
KROQ
you have
when I was a
KROQ
kid.
memories, and now you're playing the KROQ Coachella
Yeah.
house, which
Yes.
would you have ever thought in whatever capacity that you'd be doing that?
When this band started, I literally was like, it's still a cover band, it's a tribute band, there's only so far we can go. And I was like, but someday maybe we'll play a KROQ event in the parking lot. So this was like better than that. This was like the top level.
So a little birdie told me, you being the birdie, that you snuck into Acoustic Christmas.
I did.
Listen, having worked so many of those events and seeing how tight our security is, how the hell did you pull that off?
Okay, so I was 15 years old. It was Acoustic Christmas 95, and I'd gone 93 and 94. So I had an idea. I'd been to the amphitheater. It was at Universal. And early in the day, we convinced a security guard for the Universal, like we got there like
You
two
convinced the
in
security
the
guard, did you
afternoon.
pay him off?
No, we
Socially
told it was like, you're
engineered.
kids. So we were like, our parents are back there working on lot. We snuck past the security
Oh,
guard
you
to the
used the
lot.
kid angle.
And then we walked into the theater and just sat down. And we watched sound check for Presidents of the USA that year. We saw Sonic Youth sound check.
Wow, what
we
year was
saw
that?
95.
Okay.
And I know because they had played Coachella, played Lollapalooza that year. So we saw these bands sound check. And then security came up to us, and this is like as they were about to open doors, and they said, you have a choice. You can come down into the pit now, or you can walk outside the doors because we're about to open the doors. So of course we said we're going to
Well,
go
the pit.
into the pit.
The pit
And
is
so
right
we were
in-
in the pit for the entire show. I don't know how I didn't pee for like 9 hours.
Because you know priorities.
But
the music comes first.
There was so many amazing moments while we were in that pit, including Sonic Youth's on stage. Tom York is next to me in the pit, and I go, "Hey, great set." Radiohead's, pretty new. The
You
band's
just
just
turned
come
a
out.
15-year-old turned to Tom York and just said, "Hey man, good job."
I have big ones. So I said, "Hey, great set."
I like that he said I had big ones as if they've gone away.
I said, "Hey, great set," and he goes, "Shh, the greatest band in the world is playing." It was Sonic Youth, and I said, "I totally agree." And I sit and watch Sonic Youth. Then somebody else said, "Hey, great set." He said, "The greatest band in the world is playing," and the guy goes, "These guys suck." And Tom York flicks him off and walked away. It was amazing. It was such a brilliant moment.
Tom York doesn't put up with anybody's bull.
No.
I don't know if I can curse on this broadcast, so just to be safe, I won't. But he just doesn't. I was at some benefit show, and he was standing next to me, and the show was over, so I wasn't bothering him. And I looked at him and I go, Tom, can we take a picture? And he's like, no. And he walked away. And I was like,
You should have been like, Sonic Youth is an amazing band. Can we take a picture?
I
Maybe you would have
didn't
said
know
yeah.
at the time. Have you ever snuck into Coachella?
I've been to 18 Coachellas.
He's been to 18 Coachellas. How could you afford 18 Coachellas?
I've never snuck in, but I've worked every single Coachella I've been to because I work as a music journalist, sort of on the
You
side
really are
of doing a
music
bunch of
nerd.
different stuff.
Oh, there goes that.
And so starting in 2002, I would be working in some capacity. One Coachella I performed at, but not as a musician. I was a dancer for Todd Terje.
What?
You can find the video on the internet. It says what it's like to be on stage at Coachella dancing with Todd Terje. And they enlisted a bunch of normal people to be his backup dancers. And it was incredible.
And you are a normal person.
I was a normal person on
Got it.
stage. Yes, very
Got
normal.
it.
Was a normal person.
Was a normal. Back when he had big ones, yeah.
Good recall.
What about you guys? Have you been to Coachella?
Absolutely.
You never have?
Yeah, yeah. No, I've been
You
to
have?
Yeah.
So, how many have you been to?
4, I want to say.
4, and you've been to 18. So, which one stands out the most?
I think
You're going to say Radiohead, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm
Oh.
definitely not,
Daft
actually.
Okay.
Daft Punk was amazing, but I think for me, the best year was 2012, but not for the Radiohead set, for the Dr. Dre and Snoop set, which was like so fantastic. And then also, now that I'm thinking about it, the year the Postal Service played, because that's like one of my favorite albums of all time. and watching it.
2005, when 9 Inch Nails came back after not playing
Yes.
for a long time. Like, and it was the last time we'd seen Trent, he was kind of all strung out, and then he came back to Coachella and he was like buff, wearing this white button-down Gap shirt, and then he took it off and you're like, what? Trent Reznor is hot as hell. But there's something about the desert that's super magic.
Yeah, there's been so many amazing moments at Coachella that you just can't even pick one single year because you have to look at the whole lineup and be like, oh yeah, there was the year that I saw the Killers played and nobody in the Gobi or whatever, you know. There's all those things.
God, there's so much magic here. So you have a few incredibly cool gigs coming up, including one next weekend here in the desert. So I want you to tell everybody about it because I think I'm coming out to the one next weekend.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I've never been to Pappy and Harriet, so tell everybody what you'll be doing.
So every year we do a Coachella tribute show where we play either songs from that year's Coachella or the history of Coachella. This year, it's a tribute to 20 years of Coachella. We're going to play songs from every year of Coachella at Pappy and Harriet's, which is really only an hour outside of where we are now.
And it's a legendary venue.
Yes.
It's the most magical place. I'll let these guys talk about it because we love playing there.
Okay.
Anybody want to talk about why we love Pappy's?
I mean, Pappy's is the kind of place. Do you remember the biker bar from Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure?
But of course.
It's like the biker bar
exactly
from Pee Wee's
like
Big
the
Adventure
biker bar.
with
You're
these lovable, friendly desert people that want good rock shows.
Correct.
They love it.
Correct.
So we played the last 2 New Year's there and sold it out. We've played there probably 10 times. And the fact that we get to do our Coachella tribute show there, it's a venue that hosts Coachella artists in between Coachellas. So, I mean, it's just really...
It's also hosted Paul McCartney.
It's also hosted Paul McCartney.
After he played Coachella.
After he played Coachella. Oh my God.
The Pixies. I mean, there have been amazing bands, huge bands that have taken that small stage. So I think every time we're there, you can feel the history in that place, and the crowd there goes crazy.
Okay, so I'll be there, and then you're playing another. Tell me about the gig that you're playing in Long Beach around Just Like Heaven.
So Just Like Heaven is May 3rd and May 4th. On the 3rd, we're going to do an after-party, pre-party for Just Like Heaven. Just Like Heaven's lineup is it's like the bands that we play.
It's going to be a dance party.
It's going to be a dance party. Yeah. It's MGMT, Phoenix. These are all bands whose songs we play, so it only makes sense that we'll throw an after-party. People are going to dance and sing. It's going to be great. And we're playing with our friends Tom Kinney and the High Seas, which is the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants band. They're so fun. So it's an amazing double bill, and it's going to be a blast. So if you're anywhere around there, come out.
Anything else you want to invite us to? Because we'll go. You guys are good. I would just sit here with you till the sun came down. I would involve alcohol at some point. But anything else?
So we mentioned Coachella. We mentioned City Stock before. City Stock is a festival that we throw every year in Encino. It's invite only. We've had incredible bands play in the past. The Henry Clay people have played Coachella played. Yip Yops played last year. They played Coachella 2 years ago. And Tom Kinney played. We have incredible bands. Free food, free booze, pool party.
Free, and music. And these awesome people.
Just like this. And we always do something special for it. We haven't announced what we're doing this year yet. We don't know, actually. But it's our 10-year anniversary show. So we're going to do something.
Guys.
Thanks.
You have incredibly beautiful energy. And that was probably one of the funnest sets that I've seen. You chose all the right songs, by the way. So I just hope that I get to be around you more and more. And I will see you next weekend in the desert. Black Crystal Wolf Kids.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
This is amazing.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.